Hey, welcome to my channel. My name is Paula, and in today's video I want to share with you kind of how my style has evolved. This is of course going to be a very subjective and personal approach on kind of style and fashion and so on, but I just realized that I have been thinking about this for quite some time in my own head of like what has happened to what items I'm interested in and drawn to, what I used to really go for, and what I'm looking at right now. And I noticed that there is a massive change because I think that this is basically where I started. This is my first actual luxury handbag that I purchased when I was in Munich. What would I say? 8 years ago, 9 years ago, 8.5 years ago anyway. And I wanted this for, I think from the moment that this actually released. I mean, I didn't own anything from Louis Vuitton, but I was already interested and following, and it probably helped that everyone had this, and I just kind of became obsessed with it, so much so that I decided that once I will graduate from my second university degree, I will get this for myself. Well, luckily, my mom also is a handbag person, or a kind of luxury person. Not really, maybe. She loves quality. Anyway, she understands handbags, and she of course wanted to gift me something for graduation. And when I said that I want this and I was gonna kind of save up and whatever, she then super kindly wanted to gift this for me, so she gave me the money. And then when we were in Munich, we went to the boutique, and that was my first time actually trying on handbags in a luxury store. I never dared to kind of go in and actually like want to try on something. I just felt so pressured of buying something if I would bother the sales associates. So that day when I actually managed to go there, and super pleased with this purchase. I have used this loads. I am one of those who really enjoy the Louis Vuitton Neverfull. It's just it's amazing. I don't really mind that everyone has it and so on. And this kind of started a craze for Louis Vuitton for me. I was on their website quite often looking at the least expensive items. That mainly meant, like, let's say, small leather goods. No, these little thingies, which I also bought during those years in my craze for Louis Vuitton. Haven't used this in years, but still have one because I had to get one. Anyway, and then I was looking at the kind of, I don't want to use the word entry-level handbag because they cost a lot of money. So what entry level is that? But anyway, the kind of less expensive canvas bags such as the Speedy, Alma BB, like these, I have owned all of those too. Sold them since because I felt that I just probably bought them because of the price point and for the want to own Louis Vuitton and so on. And from Louis Vuitton, I kind of went on to Saint Laurent because they also had some, let's say, accessible pieces. And when I'm saying accessible, by no means am I meaning cheap, because we all know that's not true. But something that was somehow manageable when you save up and bought pre-owned and all of that. And that kind of, I was in that box for quite many years where I truly enjoyed Louis Vuitton, Saint Laurent, and those, Saint Laurent was mainly for the aesthetics, I would say. I did look at Prada and Fendi because they also at that point had some pieces that could have been affordable or part of the price range I managed. But still, like, Louis Vuitton was like the number one love for me, for sure, 100%. And then something happened in that kind of middle where I started noticing Celine, for instance. I think I noticed it earlier as well, But at that point, I was so into showing logo, and I guess for me it somewhat was important that because I had saved up and spent a lot of money, I kind of wasn't bothered by the fact that you could see that it was some kind of luxury brand. And Celine, I loved the aesthetics, but there was a stupid voice in my head that said that no one would know. Well, not necessarily, but kind of like, is it worth spending that much on pieces where you can't even kind of see the logo? I feel so bad even saying that right now because that's so opposite of what I'm thinking right now. But in my 20s, like showing it, that was somewhat of the idea. So I liked Celine in the Secrets, but then I never went for it. And I started noticing Dior because I fell in love with the Lady Dior bag, which is somewhere there behind other Dior bag. So yeah, I kind of started then maybe shifting to the bags that were not the kind of most hyped, most popular, most Louis Vuitton. And actually kind of at that point I noticed that maybe my style is already a bit like changing from Louis Vuitton, but I still enjoyed it. But as of like now, when I'm thinking of it, I haven't really seen anything from Louis Vuitton in years that would have got me at least a tad tempted to even play with the thought of buying something from them. I am excluding the few things I have unboxed during the few years. One of them is actually kind of an SLG for traveling, excluding and so on. But when I'm thinking of like handbags and so on, there has been like nothing that has made me tempted. With Saint Laurent, I think the logo is still very, very beautiful, the chevron especially, but it's just not tempted at all. And then the one brand that when I started with luxury, I kind of felt that was an old lady brand, excuse me, but I mean, that's what I thought. And now we're talking about Chanel. So there were so many years when I was just like, never gonna happen. Maybe when I'm 40 or 50 or something, maybe at that point I can consider Chanel. But it's still, I felt like overpriced and overhyped, over everything. And then something shifted in my mind. And suddenly I was curious. I was curious to test the brand. The aesthetic had kind of grown on me. I was more into buying bags that kind of last a test of time, that are kind of something that I actually can wear from years from now, maybe like 10 years from now, and so on. So I gave in. I think now it's like 2.5 years ago when I then bought my first Chanel bag, which is this vintage flap bag. And I couldn't believe the luck when I found this. I paid around 1,000 euros, believe it or not. The kind of funny thing was that this looked horrendous. I have taken this to a professional cobbler to kind of make this look nice and all, but that was the reason why the price point was such good. Like there was so much color transfer and whatnot. But anyway, so this kind of started it all. And then it didn't even last for that long. When I was looking at this, I'm like, yeah, I want a black one because black is classic. And then I would have a beige and a black. Yes, exactly. So that was kind of my thinking. I thought I was content. This is enough. I mean, this is not anyway a bag that I would wear every day. Why would I need more? And then I became the biggest hypocrite because I have felt for years and years and years that this piece is so overhyped and overappreciated because this costs so much money. When in fact, this is a wallet on chain. You can still fit a tiny amount of stuff in here. And I mean, I still agree that with the price of this one, new from the boutique, you can get 2 or 3 of these from other brands. So, but it started growing on me. I wanted one, now I have one. But yeah, so I kind of stopped for a bit to realize that for some people, this might be like, what is this woman talking about? But for me, in my style journey, I don't know, these represent completely different eras and completely different styles in a way. And even though the Neverfull has been one of my favorite bags, this is still something I will never sell. I will never let go of this bag because it also represents the first luxury bag. It represents a milestone in my life and also a chapter which I opened that made me spend a hell of a lot of money, but still, like, I will never let go of this bag. And yet again, I realized that I haven't like used this, I think not at least in a year or so. And then when I used this last time, it was for work. I just took this to the office because I thought that I haven't used this in a while. And it doesn't take away from the fact that it's super functional. Like, it truly is, and fits so nicely. Like, it's such a perfect day bag. This is the MM size, probably didn't mention that. But it is still somehow the aesthetics that I've a bit moved from Louis Vuitton, maybe. Versus for this, like, this was something I couldn't have imagined myself owning. I am now 35. So when I thought that this was an old lady brand, I think that makes me an old lady right now. But it's just funny how mind kind of changes, how the style evolves. There is so many bags, well, not so many. There are bags that I have purchased at one stage in my life, used them a lot, and then realized after a while that they actually don't suit me anymore. I'm not drawn to them, I'm not reaching for them, and then I've sold them. And luckily, I have always been interested in pre-owned shopping until recently, I guess. But so I haven't really lost money that way. But still, it kind of makes me think that I have gone through different eras when it comes to fashion, which I think all of us have. It's just funny that if I would kind of showcase my fashion through H&M, it probably wouldn't be so bad. But when I'm expressing it through these €1,000+ worth of items, it kind of makes me think a bit more of like what's happening. I have been asked to make these kind of handbag collection videos, which I get because I love to watch them as well. But there is this hesitation in me of like, can I make a handbag collection video if there is a big chance that in a year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, I'm gonna sell something on, buy something new, like the style will once again evolve. Maybe I'm thinking too much into this, but that has been something that I have just kind of have going on my mind, that making a collection video when I know that it's not complete, I know that it's not the collection, it is something that I own currently and then might be at some point that I don't anymore. And so yeah, maybe I'm taking it way too seriously. But yeah, so if you're wondering why I haven't made handbag collection videos, it is because I take this business so serious now. It's just that I am maybe a bit insecure of should I put out that type of video when I am quite certain that some of these pieces are not gonna be here forever and ever, or not necessarily even in 5 years or so, because that's just how my style and my mind has worked through these years. Maybe once something completely life-changing would happen to me, then these wouldn't play such a big role in me, although self-expression I don't think ever goes away. What am I saying? I'm sorry. This video, I promise you, I had a thoughts behind it before I started filming, but I don't completely script what I say, so it is possible that I get sidetracked. Yes, I guess this is a good place to end this video, as there wasn't really any closure in this. Maybe this is just me trying to express and verbalize to myself as well of like how my style moves and evolves, and I don't know if it improves, but kind of sometimes the changes are smaller and sometimes the changes are the fact that this is my only Louis Vuitton handbag at the moment. I do have a Keepall, it's a different thing, it's for traveling. I have owned quite many Louis Vuitton handbags. I have since sold all of them, and that is really something that I'm thinking about. And now that we are at the end, thinking that I never thought I would have Chanel. I never thought I would want Chanel. I never thought that these would be aesthetically pleasing for me. And now I'm already thinking that next year I will save up money to buy a white Chanel bag. Yes. So that's where we are right now. Has this happened to you? Have you also noticed that during the years your style might have changed a bit, and something that you really enjoyed before is something that you don't necessarily anymore? Have you done the same as I have and sold them onwards, or are you keeping them there as kind of memories? Because that's also something that could be done. I don't know. Or are you someone who just, you knew who you are already like 10 years ago and have kind of continued on that road? I don't know, just like share your experiences and thoughts about this topic down in the comments below. Thank you for watching. See you in my next video. Bye.